I still remember the year pride destroyed a man who had everything. And how that same pride humbled an entire village. My name is Okon. And I was born and raised in Ikea. A village that sat quietly between two hills. And a restless river. In those days, our people believed that the earth had ears. That when you spoke with arrogance, the ground would carry your words to the gods. And when the gods had enough of your boasting, they would answer. That year, they answered Obi. Obi was the strongest farmer in Ikea. Tall, proud, with hands that could break cocoyam stems, and a voice that made younger men listen. If there was a competition in the village, Obi was the first to stand. If there was praise to be shared, he expected the biggest portion. He was my friend once. Before pride began to whisper in his ears. Okon, he once told me, his chest rising proudly. A man's worth is measured by the number of barns he owns. Or they may act humble, but I will build barns that touch the sky. I laughed then. A foolish laugh. I didn't know those words would one day taste like ashes in his mouth. Ode was the opposite of Obi. Shorter, quieter, always smiling. Even when the sun burned hot and the rains refused to fall, he and his wife, Busy, lived in a small mud house at the edge of the village, near the mango grove. He farmed less land than Obi, but his heart was rich in ways Obi couldn't understand. When children ran barefoot through the farms, or they gave them roasted corn. When widows cried over empty kitchens, he sent them yam tubers before dawn. He didn't do it for recognition. He did it because he believed. The gods blessed the open hand, not the clenched fist. And that belief would one day save him. Obi's wife, Lola, was a gentle woman. Beautiful in the quiet way. Rivers are beautiful at night. She tried her best to calm him. But pride doesn't listen to the voice of reason. It listens only to applause. Each time the elders praised Ode for his kindness, Obi's face darkened like storm clouds. Why must they always speak his name? He spat one night. Does kindness plant yam? Does humility fill barns? Let them sing about me when I become the richest man this village has ever seen. Lola sighed. Obi, a name sung in pride fades quickly. But a name sung in love lasts forever. He looked at her. And for a moment, I thought I saw understanding in his eyes. But it was gone as quickly as it came. That year's festival was grand. Drummers filled the air with thunder. Palm wine flowed like rivers. And laughter wrapped itself around the village square. The elders announced the Yam of Honor, a title given to the farmer who had shared the most from his harvest. Everyone already knew Ode would win. When Ade's name was called, he rose shyly. His wife, Busy, clapped with tears in her eyes. Villagers cheered. Children danced around him. Then Obi stood abruptly, his pride wounded. He raised his hand and shouted, "Honor a man who gives away what he cannot keep. But when famine comes, remember who still has barns full of yam." The crowd fell silent. Even the drummer stopped. Ode, still smiling, walked to him and said softly, "Obi, barns feed the body, but goodwill feeds the soul." Obi turned away. And that was the day envy found a permanent home in his heart. Months later, the rain stopped. The streams thinned into trickles, and cracks began to appear in the earth. Farmers prayed, but their crops withered. Obi's barns were full, but his heart was restless. He wanted more, because greed has no resting place. One night, he met a stranger on the road. A tall man in a dark cloak, leading 2 mules loaded with silver pots. The man smiled. "You have land," he said. "I have gold. Let me buy the portion near the stream. You will be rich beyond any man in this village." Obi hesitated. That land had been his father's. But the word gold rang louder than memory. By dawn, he had sold it. For a few weeks, Obi lived like a king. He built a new barn, bought 2 servants, and wore clothes that glittered under the sun. But then, strange things began to happen. His goats stopped eating. The leaves around his farm turned yellow. Even when it rained, his yams, once heavy and proud, began to rot inside the ground. The villagers whispered that the land had rejected him, that the gods were angry. But Obi laughed. Let the gods farm if they want to eat. And that was the last laughter the earth ever gave him. While Obi's land died, its small plot flourished. Rain seemed to fall only on his farm. His crops grew fat and full. His home overflowed with visitors and songs. People said the gods had remembered Ode. But Ode said only this: the earth is not cruel. It only mirrors the heart of the man who tills it. That statement spread through the village like fire. And when it reached Obi's ears, he shattered a pot in anger. It was during the next harvest that the sky turned black. Thunder rolled like angry drums. Lola begged her husband to come inside, but Obi refused. "My barns must be protected," he shouted. "Let lightning strike the heavens if it dares." And lightning did. A blinding flash tore through the sky, hitting the roof of his barn. In moments, fire swallowed his wealth, his barns, his grain, his pride. He screamed until his voice broke, falling to his knees as the flames danced in mockery. By morning, nothing remained but ash and regret. For days, Obi didn't speak. He wandered through his empty land like a ghost. Lola tried to comfort him, but he only stared at the horizon. Then, one evening, Ode appeared, carrying a basket of yams and a calabash of water. He placed them silently before Obi and said, "My friend, even the proud man deserves a second chance. Come, eat. Tomorrow, we plant again, together." Tears filled Obi's eyes. For the first time, he bowed his head. And I, watching from a distance, understood what humility truly looked like. Seasons passed. Obi rebuilt his farm. This time, side by side with Ode. He no longer boasted, no longer demanded praise. When strangers came to the village, Obi would smile and say, "Do not ask how many barns a man owns. Ask instead if his heart is big enough to share." The elders began to speak of him again. not as the proud man who fell, but as the humble one who rose. The moral. And that is how I learned that greed is a drought that starts in the soul, and pride is a fire that burns its own master first. In IKEA, we still say, the man who kneels to thank the earth will never go hungry. So, my friend watching this, if life gives you plenty, share it. If fortune finds you, don't let pride chase it away. For the gods still walk among men, listening. And when they hear enough of arrogance, they always send a harvest to humble it.